Take a good look at this pigeon or dove for a moment. It looks like an ordinary pigeon, right? But no, it is actually a CIA spy. A tiny high-tech camera is attached to its body, and it is now flying away to take pictures of the Soviet Union's nuclear submarines. And that dolphin you see? It is being trained to attach bombs to enemy ships. It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? There's more. Have you seen this crow? It's not just flying around aimlessly, it also has a mission. It is now flying to plant a secret microphone in a KGB agent's hotel room. And this cat? It has been sent to spy on Chinese diplomats. A microphone has been placed in its ear through surgery, and an antenna has been attached to its tail. Today, we will see 4 of the world's most fascinating missions that were carried out using animals. However, were those missions ultimately successful, and what happened to the fate of those animals? So, let's get started. First, let's find out why animals are chosen for these secret missions. The interesting thing is that animals have some abilities that humans do not. A dog's sense of smell is 10,000 times more powerful than ours. Underwater mines can be found using a dolphin's echolocation ability. And the biggest advantage is that animals can easily stay out of the public eye. People will be suspicious if they see a drone, but if a pigeon or a crow flies by, no one even notices it. That's why it is convenient to use these animals in big missions. For example, Project Axelart. In the 1960s, the CIA started Project Axelart. The goal was to train birds to carry secret equipment from one place to another. But which bird is most suitable for this task? Tests were conducted on various birds. Hawks are strong but cannot fly far. Owls can see in the dark but are weak in daylight. And that's when an impossibly brilliant crow came forward. Its name was Duda. This experiment started on California's San Clemente Island. The bird's task was to fly from the island to floating boats in the sea and return. The distance was challenging and the winds were at tremendous speeds. Most birds could fly a maximum of 1.5 miles, but Duda could fly up to 3.5 miles. After only a few months of training, it nearly doubled this distance. Not only that, in every mission, it would figure out at which altitude it would be easier to fight against the wind. When local wild birds attacked it, Duda would avoid them by flying higher, and when wild crows attacked by hiding behind the hills, Duda would fight them while leading them towards the sea. After going a mile away, the wild crows would get tired and return. Duda was so intelligent that it was taught to recognize specific tables, open drawers, and even carry heavy items like file folders. The CIA's plan was such that if an agent wanted to record enemy secret conversations, they would signal towards a specific window from a nearby building using a laser beam. Then, the trained Duda would be released from the cage. The crow, carrying the recording device in its beak, would fly towards the laser beam and place it on the window ledge. Then the agent would light a special lamp and signal to return. It sounds perfect, doesn't it? But in reality, it wasn't that simple, because crows cannot fly properly during their molting, feather-shedding period. Besides, that crow once placed the recording device in the wrong window, and when it later placed it in the correct spot, so much surrounding noise was recorded that their target's speech couldn't be understood at all. Duda's end was also very tragic. Just like any other day, one day Duda goes on a mission, but 2 wild crows attack it, with whom it had fought many times before. Suddenly, the 3 birds went out of sight, and after that, Duda never returned. It is assumed that it died in the fight with those birds. September 1976. Satellite images showed that the Soviets were building nuclear submarines in Leningrad, but the CIA wanted clearer and closer taken photos. Spy planes or satellites fly very high, so detailed photos were not possible to obtain at that time. But a pigeon can fly at a height of only 100 feet, and that too in day, night, or any weather. At the same time, no one will suspect it.
That's why the CIA developed a special 16mm camera and a leather harness. The entire setup weighed only 39 grams. The camera was equipped with a timer and would automatically take between 150 to 220 photos at specific intervals. However, a problem arose. When those trained pigeons were released, they would fly straight back home. To solve this, the CIA invented the ABC flight system. This meant Point A was the release site, Point B was the target, and Point C was the pigeon's home. The pigeons were trained to fly to Point B first and then return to Point C, where they would receive food as a reward. Training took place in several locations. 3 methods were planned for the missions. First, releasing the pigeon from under a large overcoat. Second, releasing it from the false bottom of a briefcase or shopping bag. And third, parking a car with a hole in the floor so the pigeon could exit from underneath and take flight. But the results were not as expected. Many pigeons were lost during these missions, some were killed by wild bird attacks, and some were even hit by cars. Indeed, the disappearance of thousands of dollars worth of equipment was a very costly loss. Project Oxygas. In 1964, an engineer named James Fitzgerald mentioned at a party that it was possible to use dolphins for war efforts. A Navy admiral heard this and introduced him to the CIA. Around the same time, a TV show called Flipper began, where a dolphin would catch criminals. It was almost a coincidence. Anyway, the CIA started Project Oxygas. The goal was to use dolphins to attack enemy ships. Special harnesses and nose cones were made for the dolphins so they could carry explosives. A CIA official even illustrated the entire mission through drawings, a dolphin happily towing a bomb while trainers watched from atop a submarine. The first test was successful. A dolphin took a fake explosive and attached it to a ship's propeller. However, the information regarding what kind of explosives the dolphins carried has been kept secret. Some experts suspect the CIA might have considered carrying small nuclear bombs. Additionally, dolphins are now used to plant secret microphones on enemy submarines to record engine sounds. But training dolphins is quite difficult because they're social animals. They only start working once a bond is formed with a trainer. When sent to the field, it takes considerable time to build a similar bond with a new agent. Project Acoustic Kitty. The most controversial and mysterious of all projects was Project Acoustic Kitty, the CIA's cat program. In 1964, the CIA wanted to overhear agents' conversations in open spaces, meaning recording Soviet agents without raising any suspicion. And the solution? A cat, because no one suspects a cat wandering around. According to the CIA's plan, a microphone was surgically implanted in a cat's ear, a transmitter was placed under its skin, and antenna was hidden within its fur. The entire process was safe, and the cat was not harmed. But a cat is a cat. It does whatever it wants. It's nearly impossible to make a cat do much through training. Interestingly, officially, Acoustic Kitty never even made it to the field. However, Victor Marchetti, a former CIA official, provided different information. He claimed the cat was actually sent to spy on a Chinese diplomat in France. Wires were even attached to its brain so it wouldn't be distracted by hunger or sexual attraction. A battery pack was implanted in its stomach, and then the cat was sent to overhear a conversation across the street. But as the poor creature was crossing the road, a taxi came and ran it over. $25 million went down the drain before the mission even started. However, the CIA still denies this claim, stating that Marchetti's story was just a joke. But the real truth remains unknown.